G'day, what's going on at Ferrari? Lewis is saying he's just useless, and Charles was visibly frustrated following today's race. After qualifying for the Hungarian GP, Lewis Hamilton said this: "It's me every time. I'm useless, absolutely useless. The team have no problem. You've seen the cars on pole, so we probably need to change the driver." Now, you don't often hear Lewis Hamilton doubting himself, especially in mainstream media. You might say that privately to the team, but to put that out there for the world to see is a real shock. He's a 7-time world champion, but clearly he feels he's not performing like one right now. And I think to see your teammate, your much younger teammate, on pole position for Saturday's race when you're out in Q2 clearly hurts. I was waiting outside the FIA garage when Lewis came out. Yes, he was wearing his helmet, and he often does that. It means that we don't get to see any emotion from him. But as an added measure, you can see here, he's put his gloves up to shade his face from photographers and a number of TV crew waiting for him. Today, he started 12th, and that's where he finished, 8 places behind his teammate. But Charles wasn't happy either, but I'll get to that in just a moment. Now, thanks to Bitdefender for sponsoring this video. We all do our bit to stay safe day to day. We check our windows are secure before we go to sleep. We lock our cars when we park them outside. We even get security cameras fitted to our homes. But one aspect of safety we often overlook is online. In 2023, more than $1 trillion was reportedly scammed from people's accounts around the world. I spend a great deal of time online. In fact, I rely on the internet for my career, as do so many other people. And with the ever-increasing threat of cyber scams, I know I'm not willing to take any chances. That's why I use Bitdefender's premium security. Featuring an AI-powered chatbot, Scam Copilot, Bitdefender's able to spot fraudulent intent and suspicious interactions quickly and easily. And for a limited time, you can enjoy this exceptional all-in-one plan offering you complete security and enhanced privacy for 90 days absolutely free. Just click on the link in the description. In the media pen after the race, Lewis just did not want to elaborate on his comments of yesterday. And then he went on to say that there's a lot going on in the background. Now, you and I aren't privy to what that is, but clearly it's causing him some concern, and it's affecting his performance. So what about the pole sitter, Charles Leclerc? Well, he was visibly and audibly angry with the team. He finished the race in 5th today after leading a good chunk of it. This is what he had to say over the radio. "This is so incredibly frustrating. We've lost all competitiveness. You just have to listen to me. I would have found a different way of managing these issues. Now it's just undrivable. It's a miracle if we finish on the podium." And of course he didn't. He finished 2 places away from a podium. And this is not the first time we've seen him angry with the team regarding strategy. And it feels like it's happening far too often. Coming out of the FIA garage today, he was none too pleased, despite going into the day expecting to be on the podium. But minutes before finishing this video, I learnt that post-race, Charles had actually retracted his comment, saying he spoke too quickly. "I thought it was coming from one thing, but then I got a lot more detail since I got out of the car," he said. It seems that the Italian team has a lot to do before we get back to Zandvoort for the second part of the 2025 season. And for those of you who didn't stick around and watch the podium, let me tell you 2 funny things that occurred to me watching it. This is George Russell telling the McLaren team representative that the trophy he'd previously held up for the world's media was actually upside down, after which he quickly turned it the right way up and then held it up again for a second round of shots. And then Lando Norris, today's race winner, grabbed his trophy and put it to the side of the stage, and then came back and grabbed Oscar's, because as many of you will remember, when he bashed his champagne bottle on the podium, Max's trophy fell over and broke. And that broken trophy is now sitting in the Red Bull offices in one of their trophy cabinets. Let's go back to the TV media pen, and it was great joy for Gabriel Bortoleto. An epic effort today, 6th, most of it spent behind Fernando Alonso in 5th. Here he is getting high praise from Fernando's manager. And something I noticed this race was one of the FIA crew has a clipboard with a printed sheet and actually marks off the time that every driver comes into the TV media pen and leaves. That's because it is compulsory for all of the drivers to go to the media pen, and obviously they need to keep a record of it. This is how it's done. And you might not have seen this, but before the race, when Gabriel was coming out from the garage, he went back there for a wee, Bernie Ecclestone stopped and had a chat with him for probably 30 seconds. Bernie was at the track today and yesterday with his wife and his son. Another gentleman at the track today is this man, Hide the Pain Harold. His real name's Andras Arato, and he's arguably the most famous Hungarian going around. Why was he there? He was a guest of the FIA, and it's not the first time he's been, because he went to Singapore last year and was a huge hit with the drivers. About 5 seconds before I took this picture of Max posing for a selfie with this young girl, she was on the ground. She started running towards him and slipped right in front of him. Anyway, he helped her up, she got her selfie, and afterwards she was absolutely joyful. So there's a handy tip. If you're looking for a selfie from an F1 driver, maybe you just got to fall over in front of him. George Russell almost ran me over in the car park. Yes. What happened? Well, let me tell you. This fella's Richard Pardon. He's George's photographer. He and I were waiting for George in the car park. Richard goes down on his knee about a metre in front of me. George is driving towards us with a car full of people. And I think, fine, I'm safe because Richard's in front of me. However, I didn't see Richard quickly duck to the side, and George has seen me and jokingly gunned the accelerator, just for a millisecond, but certainly got me moving. This was the last pic I took before I hightailed it away from there. But then he parked his car, and I watched him, and I've got to tell you, I give him a 4 out of 10 for his parking effort. He very nearly cleaned up the back corner on one of these concrete pylons. And then I thought, well, why don't I have a look at all the cars, because at that point they were all in, and give them all a rating. Now, most of them were pretty good, and I guess I should say that not all of the F1 drivers drive the car. Often their trainers or one of their PR people perhaps will drive it. So I don't know who drove it, but let's have a look. Fernando Alonso, who put his DBX over the sidelines, he loses a mark. Isaac Hadjar didn't reverse far enough into the bay. Liam Lawson, a bit too close to the edge of his bay, but inside the line still. And Lewis was a bit too close to the front line. And to all the other drivers that I haven't mentioned, and the teams behind them, well done to them. Now, last night, coming back into the city, we had a number of different drivers speed past under police escort. And this happens a lot in this city, although the drive back from the track wasn't too bad. But tonight, they weren't driving back to the city. They were taking helicopters from the track and then heading to the airport for their private flights out of here. Now, one of my most popular posts this weekend is this shot here of Toto Wolff. And he's come out of the Ferrari motorhome with animated eyes for me. It's a great picture. But why was he at the Ferrari motorhome? And he was in there for a good few minutes. He was there to see some people, including this fellow, Antonio Felix da Costa. He's a professional racing driver. Now let's talk about Lando's spectacular and gritty win today, staving off a fast-paced Oscar Piastri. Riveting television viewing and great for the championship because we go into the second part of the season with these guys neck and neck. And that's something Formula One will be delighted about. Lando was pretty excited too. And after the race, he went to his girlfriend Maggie and gave her a hug and a kiss. And I got to tell you, my most popular post this weekend is this picture of Maggie, which I put up on Friday and was seen by more than 1.6 million people. Now that's huge for my page and had some 55,000 likes. But there were a small number, I'm talking maybe 100 out of the 1.6 million people that viewed it, who just went to town on her with some nasty comments. Anyway, you won't see them on my page because I've deleted them and I've blocked those people. I just don't think it's very fair that someone who's not an F1 driver, who's not getting paid millions of dollars to be in the public light, has to put up with that sort of carry-on. You've probably already seen my video about the new pit building and the grandstand and the paddock. It has been a very good weekend, and I think next year when they've got that all finished, it's going to be one of the best races to come to. And I've seen a lot of people here who've said, we know that you like this race and that's why we've picked it. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. But I will highlight the pricing of food.
What are fans paying for food and drink at the newly upgraded Hungaroring? A lot. This Hundog, $22. A hamburger, $20. But they both come with about 29 French fries. This slice of pizza, $11, served with a smile. And then there's a whole host of rather interesting looking local dishes, which I didn't have time to try, but they're in the order of $20. And this was in the fan zone behind the snazzy new grandstand. Soft drinks, $4.40. $7 US for a half litre of Heineken, or for 440 ml of Guinness, just shy of $9. And your cash is no good here.
Oh, now 2 flag-related matters. Today, Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses waved the checkered flag, and a reminder too that there are 2 checkered flags waved. One is by a dignitary or a celebrity down low on the fence, and that has a whole lot of names sewn on it, but the official flag, which has no writing on it, is waved from the finish box. And the second matter regarding flags is somebody asked, who waves that flag at the start of the race at the back of the field? Well, it's always a marshal, and typically it's someone who's done a number of years. At some tracks, it could be the same person for 4, 5 and 6 years in a row. Well, that wraps up the first part of the season. 14 races down, 10 to go, and an enthralling battle for the World Drivers' Championship. Now, over the summer break, there'll be very little content coming from me, but things will kick back off once we get to Zandvoort for round 15. Now, one final thing before you go, could you please hit the like button? And I will thank all of my 500,000 subscribers and those who are about to become a subscriber by hitting the subscribe button. And for a whole lot of extra content, information and stuff, these are the sites you need to look at. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. 5,000 likes, but there was a very small minority of quite nasty, I think, females having a... No. What are you doing?
That whole shot.
Oh.